Alright everyone, if I look a little bit extra floofy today, it's because I was charcoaling the other day. Can't wait to see how the second batch came out, by the way. Thank you to RobbieBobby24 on Twitter for teaching me that method. Works really well. And with the outer barrel, the quality is higher too. Link in the description, archived of course. Nikki Haley is still somehow pulling in a shit ton of money from donors. I think that I have my suspicions about where much of that money is coming from. You remember that moment with Sununu there in New Hampshire where she lost handily by like 13 points or something? Despite pouring $100 million of ads into the state, she's going to lose South Carolina by probably a similar margin or a bit more, I think. Probably about 20 points. That's the over and under that I give generally. You remember that moment she was asked about donations because most of the money that's donated to her comes from a handful of large donors. It comes from the millionaire and billionaire class and corporations and stuff like that. She's in the pocket of the rich and the corporations. Basically, she should put a D after her name. And she was trying to explain, well, the bulk of my donors are donating less than $50 or something like that. And Chris Sununu's over there, he's like, he had the same look that Tucker Carlson had when Tim Scott was there on his town hall for a discussion, and Tim Scott was like prowling around talking to the crowd instead of sitting down and talking to Tucker like he was actually meant to do. And he just looked so confused, like what the fuck is going on? The thing is that Nikki Haley does receive some small donations, although I bet most of that is dried up at this point. Most of this represents the last dying gasps of the old corporate neocons trying to prop up the pro-war candidate. And that's what Nikki Haley is. Nikki Haley presidency would mean more war. It would mean basically the same thing you've got under Joe Biden. She's not pro-gun. She's an anti-gunner. She's against the Second Amendment by and large. Yeah, I know she passed concealed carry law in her home state. Nobody cares. That's the law of the land now and nationally anyway for the most part, and under Bruin it's quickly becoming the de facto total law of the land. So she doesn't get any kudos for that, while not standing in the way of anti-gunnery in general. I don't see her going to the training range. So there's that. She's pro-corporate bailouts and corporate handouts and the very top-down corporatism of the late 80s through the modern era that both the liberals and the so-called conservatives champion. She's no populist. She's also incoherent, like she's really great at debating, but somehow in one-on-one conversations, she doesn't know what the fuck is going on and says weird shit. She's a very strange person. She's the candidate of World War III and adventurism and so forth. She's not the free marketeer populist candidate who wants to rein in Section 230 or something like that. That would be Donald Trump. Anyway, I'm wondering, I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of somebody who continues to donate to Nikki Haley. Okay, number one, she was never worth donating to, because again, she's the warmongering neocon candidate. Number two, at this point, isn't the writing on the goddamn wall? I suspected that the writing was on the wall before Iowa even went to vote, but there were still a few people who are like, well, maybe Nikki can pull up. She gets second in Iowa, she scrapes by real close in New Hampshire, and then she goes to her home state. Well, she'll have, Haley momentum. But she never got that. She came in third in Iowa. She got crushed by DeSantis. Again, the reason why I refused to criticize him. And, well, other than a few of them, his supporters at this point, fucking Bill Mitchell's back on the Trump train. What's Max Nordau and Dave Riaboy's excuse at this point? I don't know. Severest TDS. They've been infected with the disease. In New Hampshire, she loses by double digits. That's the state she primarily fixated on. She should have split her time between that and South Carolina. It would have been better to come in a few points behind where she did in New Hampshire, knowing that at that point DeSantis probably wasn't going to last past Iowa anyway, would endorse Trump, but at least she would have some more momentum in her home state. But she doesn't have that. Dude, the primary for Nevada is today. 2 days from now, you've got the caucus in Nevada, the actual race, because the primary doesn't mean anything. Nikki Haley, by the way, slated to win the meaningless primary because she's the only person with name recognition still in the race who's on that ballot. Pence is there. He dropped out, though, so nobody's going to vote for him. I'm almost willing to bet that the results tonight with the primary, which I probably will not live stream. The caucus means something, the primaries don't, so I'll fixate on those. Trump will probably have 70 points or some crazy shit like that at this point. 70, 80, somewhere around there. And be an incumbent sort of caucus. I'm almost thinking that none of the above is going to win tonight in the Nevada primary. Because, the other candidates, nobody knows who the fuck they are, and Nikki Haley, nobody likes her, so none of the above may very well take it. By the way, Trump is fundamentally wrong. You should definitely take a primary ballot because there's nothing preventing you from also caucusing. So go to the primary today in Nevada and vote none of the above. Let's rub it in Nikki Haley's face some more. If she manages to lose to none of the above, it'll be humiliating. And she's not on the caucus ballot, effectively meaning that Trump is going to get all of the delegates there anyway, so it'll be a funny time. Who the hell, at this point, you get your paycheck and you're like, maybe I should donate to Nikki Haley. What are you smoking? It must be something fairly strong. It's stronger than weed, definitely. You're smoking heroin or something? How do you even get it into your head that there's a possibility that Nikki Haley is the nominee, absent Trump literally croaking right now, or getting kicked out in a brokered convention ensuring the death of the Republican Party? It would crush the Republican Party. Something like a quarter to a third of all Republican voters at that point would not bother voting. Biden would be winning in Texas. Biden is the only way the Dems can actually turn Texas blue. He'd probably fucking win Wyoming. The Republicans would lose everywhere. You'd lose everything. Then Biden will stack the Supreme Court. He'll have a supermajority, possibly in Congress, do whatever he wants. And keep in mind, you're handing that majority to Kamala Harris at some point because Joe Biden quite clearly is not going to last another 4 years in the presidency. He's quite clearly incapable of doing that. Behind the scenes, people acknowledge the fact that he's fucked up. Like, look at that dude that got the cybersecurity dude there that was talking to James O'Keefe and was stupid enough to be taken in by a pair of glasses and dyed hair. And they acknowledge, oh yeah, we know that Joe's in decline and is kind of a vegetable and nobody likes Kamala Harris and she's fucking batshit. And that would be your president, actually. President Kamala Harris. Say it inside of your head a couple of times till it really gets through to you and see why you shouldn't be backing Nikki Haley. She's doomed. Her candidacy is a joke. She's effectively just staying in hopes that Trump dies or is brokered out or incapacitated in some manner. That's the only reason she's in. Again, even odds says even if she gets humiliated in her own home state of South Carolina, that she stubbornly stays in anyway and says, well, it's on to Super Tuesday. I get 3 delegates that day in some of these proportional races where I have just enough support. Oh, wait, most of them are 50+1, so Trump wins an outright majority anyway in every single state. He is going to run the field. I don't care how much you like Nikki Haley, and can't honestly imagine why you would, but at some point, you gotta hang up your hat. DeSantis understood this. He salvaged his political career by getting out early, saying, okay, I acknowledge the fact that I'm not going to win. I'm being very honest with my fans. I love you. I'm glad for your support, but it's just not my time. He saved himself. He's redeemed himself. All the Bill Mitchells of the world and stuff are climbing aboard the Trump train, and it's perfectly fine, and I personally welcome them, and I'm not going to be combative at all, because, a lot of it in politics is just, hey, candidates and their fans insult each other. It's like a blood sport or something. At the end of the day, it's not actual bad blood. You can see DeSantis minted in a cabinet position. I'm sure that there was talk of that when he gave the phone call to Trump and said, well, I want to drop out here. Can you sweeten the deal a little bit? Yes, says Trump. I've got plenty of positions available in my future presidency, which is so likely to happen. Nikki Haley, though, by staying in stubbornly, I don't think she does. And people, with all their talk about, well, Nikki Haley is going to get chosen as VP. Bull fucking shit. Nikki Haley is not going to be Donald Trump's running mate. I analyzed that long ago when people swore up and down it was going to be the case. She's not going to be in the cabinet. She's not going to get any position. She's going to end up retiring from politics like the lame horse that she is. I don't understand why any individual would continue to donate to a campaign that literally at this point only exists for her ego and for the vague possibility the Republicans are batshit enough to broker their convention and try to keep Trump out when he's got 99% of the delegates. They'd be absolutely asinine, totally insane to do that. But they're Republicans, and Nikki Haley appears to be banking on that. That's about all. Peace out.